Tonight we share 3 chilling true stories: haunted houses, cryptids, and footsteps outside your door. Like, subscribe, and let's begin. I moved into a family member's house in 2021. They were never really home, always with their partner or at the firehouse, so most of the time it was just me there. At first, nothing happened. It was fine, quiet. But a couple weeks in, shit started getting weird. One night, I was dead asleep when a door slammed so hard, it woke me straight up. My heart dropped. I grabbed my pew-pew, called my mom, and had her on speaker while I went through the whole house. Room by room, every closet, nothing. Nobody was there. I tried to brush it off like maybe I dreamed it. Except it kept happening. Door slamming in the middle of the night, loud enough to shake me out of my sleep, over and over for weeks. Then my mom came to stay over. She was in a different room when it happened again. A loud slam shook the house. She woke up. I woke up. We both heard it. So now it wasn't just me. Months went by, and the weirdness didn't stop. One night, I came home from a friend's house, fixing my blind so no one could see in. That's when I heard it. A voice, right in my ear, whispering my name. I froze. And then my aurora lights turned on by themselves. My Bluetooth speaker chimed. Bluetooth connected. Then started spitting out some voice muffled, garbled, like it was trying to talk, but I couldn't understand a word. Weeks later, I was meal prepping in the kitchen. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him. A man, short black hair, white t-shirt, blue jeans, straight out of the 70s. I called my mom immediately, describing exactly what I saw. She went quiet, then said, "That's my dad. That's how he always dressed." I stood there. No way. But she swore up and down. To this day, the house is still off. Doors slam, random noises come from empty rooms. My dog barks at corners like he sees something I can't. And sometimes I swear I can feel someone standing right there, watching me. I live in central New York, and there's a large water reservoir in the woods near my house. It has a mix of small paved roadways and dirt paths for monthly maintenance and water sampling that I use as a walking trail. I normally go early in the day with my headphones and music on. The last 3 days I've had to go at dusk and have forgotten my headphones. Along the paved section of path, there was a strange stone setting in the middle of the paved path that doesn't match anything that I've seen out there before. It was so out of place I noticed it from the bottom of the path, and I ended up deciding to take it for my collection. Shortly after, it began to feel as though I was being watched, so I decided to head back. There was something in the dark, thicker patch of trees that follows along the path that sounded to be keeping pace with me. When I would stop, it would stop shortly after. It was too dark to see in the trees to where the noise was coming from. There was a point towards the end of the trail that I spotted some bats and decided I had to stop to get a picture. Zero survival instinct. Whatever was following me stopped, and I thought maybe I was just hearing things. But 15 minutes later, I started walking again, and the noise started too, and ended as soon as I hit the road away from the trees. The next day, I talked to a few coworkers who have been up there a few years earlier. They said their kids would often tell them about hearing footsteps in the trees, and like something was watching them. And I've had a repeat encounter the next night as well, but only for a part of the trail, not the full stretch like the first time. My mom and I and a few other people in town have spotted a cryptid about 15 minutes down the road at the river. Though this is separated from the woods by a major country road and a small cul-de-sac, people speculate it lives in the caves along the river. It was a strange, extremely tall white creature with strange bent legs like a dog would have, and an almost canine-looking face. I used to rent a flat in Leeds, one of those tall Victorian terraces that had been hacked into student housing decades ago. From the outside, it looked almost grand. Tall windows, soot-stained brick, an iron railing out front, but inside it was the usual patchwork, paper-thin walls, carpets that smelled faintly of damp, and floorboards that shrieked if you so much as shifted your weight. It wasn't perfect, but it was cheap. And when you're a student, cheap is king. At first, it was just an old house. Drafty, yes. Moody plumbing, sure. But nothing I couldn't live with, until winter set in. That's when I started waking up, always around 3 in the morning. I'd sit bolt upright, heart pounding, certain I'd heard something. It was always the same sound, the floorboards in the hallway, creaking. Now, in a house that old, creaks aren't unusual, but this wasn't that random groan of timber. This was rhythmic, steady, like footsteps, slow and deliberate, creeping closer. I asked my housemates, half expecting them to laugh and confess they were sneaking around, but they swore they were asleep. And every morning, without fail, the locks were bolted from the inside. No one had gone out. No one had come in. Weeks passed, and the pattern didn't break. I'd wake up at 3, hear the creak, then silence. Some nights it stopped halfway down the hall. Others, it came right up to my bedroom door. I started leaving the lamp on at night, but it didn't help. The light only made the shadows under the door sharper, and that's where I began to notice them, the shadows of feet. At first I thought my mind was playing tricks, but no, they were there, still, waiting. The weight of something pressed close to the other side of the door. I never opened it. One night, I decided to be brave, or stupid. I sat up in bed, covers pulled tight, and I waited. Sure enough, at 3 o'clock, the boards began to complain. Creak, pause, creak. Closer and closer, until they stopped right outside. I fixed my eyes on the thin gap beneath the door, that faint strip of light where shadows betray what stands beyond. The feet were there, just as I'd seen before, 2 solid shapes, motionless. But then, something happened that froze the blood in my veins. The shadows changed. Instead of walking away, they lowered, slowly, deliberately. They dropped down until the dark shapes stretched flat against the floor. Whoever, whatever, was outside my door wasn't standing anymore. It was lying there, listening. I didn't sleep that night. I don't think I even blinked. I just sat there, locked in a staring contest with the space under the door, waiting for the shadow to move again. Eventually, the first pale light of dawn crept in, and the hallway was empty. After that, I stopped pretending. I slept in the library some nights. I started carrying my keys everywhere, even inside the flat. And still, the footsteps came, sometimes faint, sometimes heavy, always around 3, always stopping at my door. When my lease finally ended, I almost didn't bother mentioning it to the landlord. But at the last minute, I did. Half a joke, half a confession. He didn't laugh. He went pale. "Which room were you in?" he asked. When I told him, his face tightened. He explained that before the partitions, the whole house had been one unit. Back in the 1950s, a man who lived there had been found dead in the hallway, stretched out flat, face down, right outside what later became my bedroom door. They never figured out why he was lying there, or what he'd been doing in those final moments. I moved on, different city, different life. But even now, years later, if I wake up in the small hours, I hold my breath and listen, because sometimes in the silence, I swear I hear it again. The slow creaks of footsteps, the pause outside the door, and then that dreadful shifting sound as something lowers itself to the floor. Have a paranormal experience of your own? Share it with us at officialphantom.mic@gmail.com. Whether in text or voice recording, we want to hear your story. Thank you for tuning in to Phantom Mic, and remember, if you still feel alone, you weren't listening closely enough.